Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Welcome back to the channel. This is How to Drum and Bass. My name is Jesse, and on this channel, it is my job to teach you awesome things about drum and bass. And before we begin today's video, I want to make a quick announcement that I've also made in previous videos, but if you haven't seen those, then here it is again. To celebrate the launch of my brand new online course, Drum and Bass Sound Design Mastery, I'm going to be giving away one lifetime access pass worth over 200 British pounds for every video that I post in the next coming days. If you want to have a chance of winning that, then please comment under this video. It doesn't really matter what, but something nice or inspiring or a tip as to what future content I can make would be absolutely great. And I will pick one of you to receive this awesome free lifetime access. And also, I'm giving away one every video. So every video of mine that you leave a comment on, you earn yourself an extra chance in the sweepstakes. All right, let's move on. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at a really cool Reese bass, the one that I think everyone who's ever listened to drum and bass knows, which is the Reese bass from Noisia's Dead Limit. And it sounds a little something like this in the original. All right, so super epic, super cool, not that hard to make, but has some super interesting quirks. And today we're gonna look at how to recreate something similar. Now, I will preface this by saying I'm good at sound design. I'm obviously not anywhere near the complete master kung fu level of the guys from Noisia, so obviously theirs is a little bit different, but I think we got pretty close. So let's dive in. All right, so this is what our recreation sounds like. All right, so let's dive in how we can recreate that. All right, so the first thing we need are these notes, and these notes are pretty interesting because they span multiple octaves. So the bass note, the low one, is F1, and it holds for exactly 1 bar. Then we go up 2 octaves, and we have an overlapping note here, which is A flat 3 and B flat 3. And you can actually put these an octave lower, but it just doesn't sound as energetic, really. So it alternates from F1 to these 2 notes for 3 times, and then for that little bit at the end, where it sort of resolves into the drop, it goes back to the octave in between that we skipped here to the A flat 2 and the G2. All right, so we got an empty Serum patch here. Now let's have a look at what we need. We're going to start off with a triangle wave, actually. So we're gonna go to basic shapes, and we're gonna rotate through till we get the triangle wave. And for the second oscillator, we actually want something that resembles a triangle wave, but that isn't quite a triangle wave. And actually, a lot of the monster wavetables have some sort of semblance. For example, this is almost like a sine wave, right? To the basic shapes. And it turns out that Monster 8 is actually, if you put it at the first wavetable position, roughly a triangle wave. And then we also want to have a sub right here to actually really serve as the sub. And what this is also important for is there's a lot of movement in this sound, but it does remain steady in the bass, and that's what we're going to be doing here. We will use level automation on these 2 oscillators, while this sub here is going to just be playing at a volume all of the time. So we're going to put this at -1, and we're going to put this triangle wave at -1 as well. That's going to form the bass part of this sound, and then we're going to put this one on +1. We want 2 octaves of difference here, and this will take care of the higher tones. So basically this is going to be the bass, and this is going to be the upper harmonics that are vibrating so quickly, essentially. All right, then the next thing we want to do is we want to draw the shape that we're going to use for the volume automation. So let's first apply LFO1 to these levels, pull them down, and let them go, let's say, somewhere up here. And then we are going to make a shape. So we hear in the sound that it goes. What you hear there is it takes a while to come up. It takes quite a while. So we're going to take this point and we're going to put it somewhere here under LFO 3, basically. And we're going to make a shape like this. That's going to be the lead up of the sound, the build up. And then we're actually going to split this in two. And we'll see in a minute when we finish the sound why we're making this specific shape. And what it does if you change the shape as well is we're going to put this one like this and this one like this. And it does seem subtle, but it actually makes the sound a lot nicer, which once again, I'll demonstrate in just a bit. So the next thing, we want to add some crunch and we want to add some movement. And so we're going to do that in two separate ways. The first one is we're going to go ahead and grab a comb filter. I want the Comb H6 Plus, which, by the way, if you want to know more about what all of these filter options are doing, because a lot of people probably just slap them on and hope for something good to happen, we have a video on every single filter option, how they work, what they do, and how to use them in what context in Serum Sound Design Mastery. So make sure to check that out if you're interested to learn more about filters. For now, I'll tell you that this is a comb filter, so that's going to give these nice little combs here, plus a high pass, which is exactly what we want here, because we want to sort of crunch up and destroy that sound a bit. First of all, we're going to put the cutoff roughly around here. And then we're going to up this drive here because we wanted to both comb it a little bit and create a little bit of distortion. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually let this drive increase with our volume shaping as well, so that the intensity decreases over time. So we're going to put this all the way there, and we're going to draw this back here. And then we want to up this resonance a bit as well. And then last, of course, we want to let it apply to both oscillators here, but not the sub, because the sub is going to form the stable bass part, the sub part, really. And then the last thing that we want to do is we want to dial back this mix a bit, because we want actually not the full signal, so everything to be filtered. We just want like a little bit. And I'll show you why as well when we've got the sound done, because it makes quite a bit of a difference. So let's hear what we got so far. So that doesn't quite sound like what we're looking for yet. So clearly we need to add some additional processing. So first of all, what we can really actually hear, if you've got a bit of an ear for it, is that there's definitely a bunch of unison and like a bit of that droning saw sound going on. That's some detuning and some unison right there. So that's what we have to add. So let's put this one at around 3. We don't want that bass here to be too wide. We don't want to add too many voices there. But the upper harmonics, we can actually up that a bit more. So let's put that at 7. Clearly, we need some distortion. So let's go and do that. Let's distort the absolute living shit out of it. So we're going to grab one of these hard clip, because that's pretty intense. We're going to put that drive all the way up, baby, all the way up. Let's also add some chorus to make it a little bit wider, but not that much. We probably want to turn down this mix a little bit. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab the asym warp mode here. So actually, if you want to know more about the warp modes as well, we have, I think it's over 10 videos discussing all of these warp modes in depth and what they mean and do in Serum Sound Design Mastery. So if you've ever wondered what the hell all of this actually really does to your waveform, then you can go check that out too in the link in the description. But for now, what we need to know is that this asym plus, which is the one that we're going to be using, is actually functionally going to take the waveform and shove part of it to the side and extend the other side, basically. And that's what we want to do here. So we're going to put this LFO on the asym as well. And we can already hear that a lot of that sort of higher tonality that we had in the beginning is taken out now, and that's what we want. That's what we need to achieve here. However, we probably do not want it to go all the way. And also, you could hear that there was some interference going on there, and that means because we have these voices here, but some of them are playing at the same octave as the sub, we actually want to make sure that our phase randoms are all down so that we consistently get the same sound and we don't get any weird phasing stuff. And then next, we want to go and tune this comb filter. So first of all, we're going to key track it because it needs to be on a very specific point here. We want to actually get it down to about 324. All right, let's start using some compression as well. Let's put it on multiband mode, and let's put this threshold down a bit. Let's add some gain here. So we're getting closer now. Of course, we also want to add some reverb. Now, we got to do a couple of things next. So obviously, it's going at one specific rate here. It's going wow, 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 wow. But actually, what we can hear, it goes slow first and then fast, right? It goes wow. So what we can do is we can go and take this note, which is essentially the same as key tracking your filter, right? And we can key track the speed of the LFO. So let's make this one directional, and we're going to put this around 16 bars, and we'll need to really Yeah, there we go. We need to really fine tune this because it needs to trigger around like 4 bars or something, and then it needs to trigger at the exact one that we want. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so that's definitely not fast enough. So that's probably about all right. Now let's take an EQ and get some of those lows back up here too. Actually, we want that to go a little bit faster. So pay attention to this note here. So it comes slightly above this line, but we can actually affect this line. So what we can do is we can actually draw an extra point here. So we can keep this in the middle, but we can draw an extra point here to make this higher so that this note will actually go faster. Well, clearly that wasn't enough just yet. And of course, we have to put it on mono and add some legato here so that we get that glide with the notes. And we can see now that it's clipping. It's clipping too much and we don't want that. So let's dial this back as well. And another thing that we want to do is we want to dial down this mix a bit more because it's going to cut out too much of these frequencies. So let's dial it back. And we actually see that this line here still needs to be changed a bit. We need to make this even more aggressive. There we go, that's better. Now let's also increase the level of the sub here, and let's maybe increase that threshold even more. And then the last thing we can do is we can play around with how much volume we want on each oscillator to sort of see if we can get some extra fatness around here. So let's actually just increase this all the way. There we go. Very cool. And so we can still actually change some stuff here as well. We could up this as well so that those last 2 notes also play a little bit faster. Nice. So we got all the notes in order just perfectly. And then we can actually go on because those down notes are really nice and crunchy, but the top notes are still a bit too tonal. So what we can go do, we can grab any multi-band distortion plugin that we have. I like to use Shaperbox. I'm actually absolutely in love with it as of recently. We can just pick a band here, and we can put the distortion to, let's say, like 50% or something, and pick something crazy like the triangle fold or something like that. And then we can find a patch where it's going to just make it sound more crunchy as a whole. Could even take the whole high part. Very cool. And that's how you create a Noisia style Reese Bass like Dead Limit. As always, thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below, either to win the free lifetime course access as mentioned in the beginning of the video, or please just tell me what you thought. If you learned something, what would you like to see? Anything helps me and also helps push the algorithm towards more people like you who want to learn about drum and bass. All right, man, you have a great day. Keep on producing, and I'll see you in the next one.